welcome back to the Curious Life podcast. As you will have heard, I am so thrilled to have returning guest Dana. Thank you so much for joining me again.
Yana, I always love to chat with you, so I'm so happy to be here to talk Bravo and reality TV. You're just like one of my favorite people to chat with. You're easy to talk to. You're so smart. You're just one of my faves.
And right back at you, girlfriend. I feel exactly the same way. And that is why last night I was catching up on the Real Housewives of Orange County.
Mm-hmm.
My blood was boiling. I had so many thoughts and feelings, and I immediately messaged you, and I was like, oh my God, Dana, are you free this weekend? I need to talk about this immediately.
So I like how you call me Daner. It's almost like how Lisa Vanderpump calls Sheena Sheener because of her accent. Daner.
Daner, I need you. No, I mean, it was an SOS. It was a big time SOS. The same way that, one of our poor castmates on OC sent out an SOS to Gretchen. But let's start from the top. I cannot cope with Tamra. And I know you and I have talked about her on your podcast, on my podcast. I seem to always talk to you about Tamra, but I cannot cope with the hypocrisy and the inauthenticity and all of the things. So tell me, how are you feeling? We've had 2 episodes. What are your thoughts?
I really concur with what you're saying about the inauthenticity. And I just do want to say for the record that I have only watched 3 seasons of OC, I think. So I don't know all the Tamra history. I think I only started watching when she came back. But I mean, just even the first episode, she says something like, I just don't understand why Shannon doesn't want to be friends. How can she throw away friends like that? What do you mean? You just spent the entire last season yelling at her and berating her and calling her an alcoholic. Are you seriously talking about several years ago when you got kicked off the show? Like, no. And then in this episode, the best that she can come up with is like, okay, here's my storyline. Jen is jealous of me. I'm like, Tamra, are you kidding? This is so weird. This is so pathetic. And sorry to just jump right into it, but I found that scene very upsetting where she's sitting with Heather trying to, talk shit about Jen. Sorry, can we swear on this podcast?
Absolutely.
Okay. And she says, Jen was heavy. Here's a picture. Not heavier before, not any of that. And there's no way around it that makes it okay to say. She's trying to say, all the things that she's trying to say are ridiculous. She says that Jen has hot dog lips, that she now works out with her person, which everybody does, that she has the same extensions that Tamra does. But the way she framed it was like, that the same physical dirty extensions that were in her head were then put into Jen's head. I don't think that's the case. And I never want to give Alexis Bellino any credit, but like she was on Carlos King the other day and she was like, we all look like that. Like we all look like that in the OC. Like, are you kidding? Totally. You're all blonde with big lips, with big boobs, big fake boobs. Like we could argue that Jessie Lally's girlfriend also looks like that, right? Who also lives in the OC. Blonde, big boobs, skinny. It's the look, right? So if that's what you're coming in with in season 19, I'm embarrassed for you. But to call a woman heavy at any point is not okay. We are in 2025. This is not acceptable. And even Jen Pedranti and Gretchen showed up in my comments about it and said, like, this is completely unacceptable behavior, but completely expected of Tamra. And it's just very childlike behavior. But then I do try to look at the other side because I do have some content creator friends who speak with her here and there. And I do try to think of it on the other side. Like, let's think about when the autism thing came out, okay? Ridiculous. But the fandom went wild. And she kind of came at some content creators around the time, which is kind of around the time that filming for this started again and what sparked all of the storylines having to do with the Bravo Babe and the bloggers and all of this. But I could see on her end where you're maybe in your head trying to be authentic or in your head thinking that you're going to get, some understanding for something that you've been through and everybody's calling you a liar and attacking you in the comments. I have become kind of a threatening bitch myself. And so I could see why she turns around and does that, even though on the other end, I'm like, that's insane. I can't believe she's doing that. And I'm fighting for my life, for the lives of all the other creators. And then I'm like, I would probably have done this. But that's why they have to stay out of our area, right? Like, this is supposed to be for us for fun. I'm sure she's been told a million times by therapists, friends, whoever else, stay out of the comments, stay out of the comments. So I really do think it's in all of their best interest, because even if you look at Katie, and sorry to kind of just go on a diatribe here, she's even a little got lost in the sauce too, right? She probably was a very normal person before all of this, and then got sucked into this whole like recording people and lies and talking to bloggers and stuff. And like all of a sudden it's like, who am I? And she sort of expresses that a little bit in the second episode of like, I thought this is what we were all doing. I thought it was like kill or be killed, you know? Sorry, I'll stop.
And she's 100% right. It is kill or be killed. Anytime you are anywhere with Tamra Judge, you can expect at some point to be killed. So,
but then how does she have any genuine friendships? Because you do hear people say in real life, she's really amazing. Actually, you've had Kate Casey on your podcast, right?
Yes.
So I am in contact with her. I'm going to have her on soon. But isn't she friends with Tamra in real life? Am I mistaken? No? I feel like she is.
I mean, they're obviously from the same part of the world, so it's possible. I don't know that I've talked with her about Tamra.
Because I feel like she had Tamra on her podcast. This could have been like a year ago, and maybe I'm wrong, but I remember listening to, you know, a podcaster that we very much respect. So I think it was Kate Casey, and, you know, saying like, I know you in real life, and I know the difference between you here. And we do hear that a lot. So I am having trouble understanding that, especially when Tamra says, I am real, and this is who I am. This is not an act that I'm putting on. Okay, well, then if this is who you are, that's a problem. And how do you have any friends? I'm having trouble reconciling that anyone can be in a real friendship with her this way. And then I forget what I was listening to today. It's sort of hard to get other podcasters' ideas out of your head when you're trying to form your own. But like, I feel like someone said today that it's sort of creating an inauthenticity amongst the cast where it's like, okay, the game isn't about being friends with someone that you like the best. The game is now about being friends with who's the most popular. And I don't agree with the popular part. I would say more so the person who's safest, right? Like one of these shows like Traders or any of these game shows. Who here is safe? And I'm going to align myself with who I feel is most safe on this show for our alliance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it goes right back to it's exactly what happens at school. You know, you keep your enemies close. I'm going to be friends with the mean girl because I don't want her to turn on me. So I'm just going to like keep ha 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 and like sucking up, which I feel like the friendships, you know, and Jen Pedranti, oh my God, she is just like the voice of the people at the moment. And I cannot believe how brave she is standing up and speaking these things into existence in front of Tamra, who is really scary. And she's saying to everybody, you're all scared of her and you're only friends with her because you're afraid of her. And you can see that with Heather. You can see that with
Heather,
Emily.
Though, Heather, I'm not sure of. Heather, I can't really gauge because I don't think Heather's afraid of Tamra. I feel like she would be the one person who wouldn't be. Don't you think? Like, don't you feel like she's a very strong person?
I feel like it's keep your enemies close. I'm going to stay on the good side. Yes. I don't want to be on the outs. She's had a taste of being on the outs before. There was a season when they were buying or sell their house for $50 million or something, and everyone was, you know, attacking her, and she was a little bit on the outs that season. And I think after that she was like, I'm not doing that again. I'm just gonna, you know, keep my good space here with Tamra. But I think there's no chance in hell they are real friends in real life. I think she's just on the show. In fact, watching that second episode and sitting all together at the hot pot, I was just looking at them going, oh, see, this is just not going to be good. This is just a bunch of employees all forced together at the same table, and they're being told this is where the meeting is, this is where you're expected to show up, this is what time we're all going to stay after work today, and we're going to have this meeting about. That's all this is. None of them are actually friends. The only, you know, genuine connections I see are probably, you know, the quote unquote underdogs that are coming together, the Jen and a little bit the Katie. I mean, I think remains to be seen for the rest of the season, but we'll see. And Gretchen coming in with like no holds barred.
I actually think Gina and Emily are friends in real life because I do see them hanging out off camera. Yeah. And that is the one thing that bothers me and is so aligned with what you're saying is when we come back to filming and somebody says, I haven't seen so-and-so in 8 months. And then it's just like, that's exactly your point. If you haven't seen each other since the last time we filmed, then we're not really friends. You know what I mean? But
Exactly.
Gina and Emily, I do see them hanging out in the off
Yeah.
season. Um,
Yeah. But
that was
again,
really.
then
Sorry, go ahead. What were you
oh,
gonna
I was going to say,
say?
but then yeah, they sit in isolation. They're just
Yeah.
this twosome that really don't fit in with any of them. Heather Dubrow doesn't fit in with any of them. Jen doesn't fit in. They are all completely different people. And as Kate Casey said a couple of times on this pod, the reality of Orange County and the way that it geographically sits, none of these people would ever be friends or ever cross paths because none of them live even vaguely close to each other. They're from
Oh,
completely different
interesting.
counties. Yes. So she's like,
But
it's
you know
contrived
what?
from the get go.
You know what? Okay, this isn't something that's new and novel. It's not
Mm,
crazy that on a Housewives show, these are employees who are coming together for the first time once a year.
yeah.
That being said, I feel like obviously the ones where the friendships are organic, our Vanderpump Rules is, for example, are the
Mm,
ones where they have the longevity because they have those real organic friendships. I do feel like this group though does make it work somehow. There are a few shows that are able to make it work with their collegial responsibilities, and I feel like this seems to be one of them. I feel like maybe the drama ends up becoming so real, right? I mean, like you're threatening FBI stuff, like
mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. I mean, it wasn't real in the sense that like nobody had called the FBI, but it's so voluminous and real that you kind of, even if I wasn't friends with you, if you're threatening to call the cops on my husband or something crazy like that's going on, I have to react. And so,
Yeah.
because I guess there's so much going on, even if these friendships aren't authentic, the drama is very scary and real. Does that sort of make sense? And that's what sort of makes it
100%.
work?
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. But I just think, yeah, we're coming out of the gates with Tamra in therapy. And look, I am a therapist. I know this sounds ridiculous, and I'm sorry if you're new here because I am not at all in my therapy hat here, and I am judging and I am making sweeping statements and all of that. And that's why I love this space because I can just be me and say all the things that I'm thinking and feeling. But
And we
seeing
love you for
Tamra,
it.
thank you. But to sit there watching Tamra sit there with that therapist, uh, with the crocodile tears. I do not
Always.
believe her emotions for a second. And if I was her therapist, I would be naming that. You know, like it doesn't feel like this is coming from a real place here. Let's get to what's really going on for you. But she is,
But this
you
is
know,
like her second session, right?
yeah,
Because remember that the first session is the one that she told us about where she was diagnosed with autism. This is the second session.
yeah.
So if you think about it in the real world, if this were a real therapist, I'm not sure if it is, in the real world, it would still, and correct me if I'm wrong, I still feel like the therapist and the patient would still take a little bit of time to maybe even go there. Like, do you think as a therapist in the second session with somebody, you would make a statement like that? Like, it
No,
doesn't
you're
feel like
right.
this is
If it
that
was,
genuine what's really going on here.
yeah,
Like it might take you some
well,
more time to get to know what her tells are. You need to
yeah,
figure out what her baseline is because if her
yeah,
baseline is crocodile tears, it's sort of
yeah,
hard to figure out. I feel like the therapist needs, especially with someone like that, I feel like the therapist needs several sessions to almost just observe and figure
yeah.
out what is really going on here and then sort of work backwards from that. You know what I mean? I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
see,
I didn't go to school for
I
this.
was no, you're right, you're right. But I'm not. I don't know if it was her second session or because she sort of said something about, "Oh, so much has been coming up for me since we've like
Oh, right.
unpacked
She
all
did
of
say
this
4
stuff."
months. She did say at one point she'd been
Yes,
going for 4 months. But I
and
still
then
don't know whether this is the therapist or whether, like, this
yes,
could all be set up. Like, I'm just saying.
yeah, and I think to defend the therapist a tiny bit. I'm not sure how I feel about her yet, but I mean, I think I do know how I feel about her, but maybe I'm just not going to say yet. But she sort of touched on, we mentioned the potential for being on the spectrum, but we are also talking about how trauma can look a lot like this, and you come from a lot of childhood trauma and so on. And I think that's an important distinction because, there is so much evidence and that we know so much about trauma, and from your work too, Dana, like there's trauma can show up in so many different ways. I would believe that. I would believe that Tammy Sue had all of that childhood trauma that she has not processed, potentially because of maybe a personality disorder or whatever else is in the way there. However, you then have Emily on the other side talking about her child's difficulties with ARFID and potentially having autism. Now, they get told your child may have autism. She says he needs to go through lengthy, detailed investigations, and we're going to go down this path, but it's going to be a big, long process.
And I want to mention that Brittany Cartwright said the same. She mentioned on the after show, I think, of the Valley this past week, they saw like 5 different kinds of doctors. It was a very lengthy process to get Cruz diagnosed.
Yeah.
Because I think this is where you're going.
Yeah. And so exactly. And I feel like if I was Emily on the show and I'm dealing with these very real
That's a good point.
issues with my own child, to have Tamra, who is really just like a class A TV villain, trying to pass off her bad behavior as potentially the same thing that my beautiful child is going through, that I'm heartbroken about, that I'm trying to process and deal with and take seriously and go step by step with. And, you know, I would be really, really upset by that.
That's an excellent point. I never thought about that. And why don't we have Emily reacting at all? Because that would have happened right before filming started. And we know that Emily has since received information from doctors, teachers, whatever, that her son might be on the spectrum. So you would think that she would have issue with the way that Tamra's talking about it. But she's so... I don't know. I don't know her that well either. I feel like I don't know anyone that well because I just don't know the history. But, you know, I did find the scene really interesting, listening to her and Shane and their differences in how they're sort of viewing this condition. Sorry, I keep forgetting what it's ARFID. Is that how you say it? ARFID?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I completely understand having these two dynamics in this parenting relationship. Like, I would be the Emily. I would be the panicky, the like, oh my God, what's wrong? And the worst part of this is like, you don't have any control of it because you don't have the answer yet. And when you're in that point of life, in any point of life, right? Like sometimes I feel like that whenever I feel like I'm losing my job. I feel like I don't have control over that situation, right? So like there's only so much I can do. And that's sort of how she's feeling. I need to talk to doctors, to teachers, but I don't have an answer right now. And in one vein, I feel like it's so great to have a partner who can be that balance for you. Like if I were to have a partner, that would be the kind that would probably be best for me, because I've had friends or partners who get just as emotional as me, where I would have a friend where I'd be like, I think I'm getting fired. He's like, you probably are. And that's just like not the kind of person that would help you in that situation. You sort of need that opposite person who's going to calm you down. But at the same time, I totally understand what she's saying about like how almost out of anyone in the world, you should understand what I'm going through more than anyone, because this is our son. And it sort of feels like you're trivializing it or making it nothing and not validating my experience. But and I get why he's doing it. I totally do. And his explanation is very valid, where he's like, I want Luke to feel normal. I don't want him to feel like this is weird. But I feel like it's a big deal that he's not validating his wife on this and that she feels alone in it. I totally get that. Yeah. Oh, how do you even... That's such an odd dynamic. And I wonder if it's like a love language thing, because it's almost like, I wonder if this is what she always needs, or it's just what she needs in this situation. But regardless, what do you think as a therapist? Do you think she should be identifying this for him? Like, dude, this is what I need from you. Or do you feel like he should be identifying that for himself? Because for us as the audience, it's very obvious what she needs.
Well, yeah, I think they've always had an odd dynamic. I think
people have said that, yeah.
We've kind of been looking at and talking about for the longest time, and
okay, tell me what you think about their dynamic, because again, I don't know the history, but like, what do you think of them as a duo?
Well, do you know the story of how they got together?
No, I know that they were both married at some point, and that his parents paid for their life, and that he became a lawyer a couple of years ago. That's all I really know about that.
That's a good nutshell.
That's it.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So they I think were colleagues at one point, just colleagues, and were chatting on like MSN or
like at Coldplay. They just went to like a Coldplay concert, just colleagues, right? Sorry, I had to find a way to throw that in. It's relevant this week.
I think at least the Coldplay people had some like passion and romance. They would like DM or chatting on MSN or some sort of like
I remember that. I remember
And
that episode.
then he was just basically like, hey, we should like get married. And she was like, oh, okay. They'd never kissed. They've never been on a date, nothing. And so there it just went from there. So I don't think it was this great big love affair. It was more probably like, hey, we're both kind of like of a certain age and thinking about having a family, and like, oh, you're like, we get along, that's cool. Let's do it. So it's not like
Wow.
we've ever seen great passion or romance or a love story between them. And they are
No, but
so
I thought they
different.
had this like solid foundation or something, and that they were just past the love part.
Oh, it was pretty rocky. I mean, at least from the years that we've seen on. I mean, I don't even know how long she's been on the show. In my mind,
Me
she and
neither.
Gina still just got on a couple of years ago, but it's probably been much longer than that. But they came on to the show, and their relationship was under the microscope, of course, immediately. And it went, we as an audience thought potentially they weren't going to make it many times.
I heard about that, but in the past couple of
Yeah.
years or since I've been watching, they seem like a
Yeah.
pretty solid couple. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess, yeah, I got to go back from the beginning. I got
Yeah.
because I feel like,
Really
yeah, I
gotta go
just
back
don't
to the
have like the full context.
Can I just say, now that Gretchen's back, I think it is mandatory viewing for you to go
Okay.
back and watch from the beginning, because the Gretchen and the Tamra, there is so much there. I mean, what Tamra has done to Gretchen over those first few years, her fiance was a much older
Okay.
man.
Is Slade a deadbeat dad though? I want to know. Is he?
Look, I can't personally tell you
Or
yes.
was he?
I know that there have been big challenges between him and his ex, and she has said a lot of things. So I don't know. I know
I'm
he
sure Tamara
and
was best friends with that person.
yeah, probably. But Tamara was absolutely vile. Gretchen's fiance. She was constantly. He was, dying from some sort of cancer. Forgotten now. Oh my god, it's terrible. Was it leukemia or I don't know? But he was really unwell for the first season, and she gave her hell. She was calling her a gold digger. She was absolutely tearing her up. Gretchen went for a weekend to let loose with her family and get drunk and go like on the lake with jet skis and just switch off. And Tamra tore her to shreds. Tore her to shreds. There was nothing Gretchen could do. It just felt like pure jealousy, because Gretchen was younger, hotter, had a richer man, looked like she was happy. She had everything probably that Tamra wanted, and she was vile. She intentionally got her blackout drunk on camera. It's all on camera, her saying, let's get her naked, wasted, and then threw her together with her son, her creepy son, trying to get them to drunkenly hook up and ruin Gretchen's life.
Gretchen's son or Jen's
Tamra's
or
son.
Tamara's son. Oh my god, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying she was trying to get Gretchen and her own son drunk so they'd break out.
No. So Tamra.
Still weird. Ew, why would she want that? Why would she want that?
I think she's evil. I do think.
Is that when she was kicked off the show? Why was she kicked off the show?
No, she wasn't kicked off after that. I think she continued on for a few more seasons. And then I can't remember exactly why she got kicked off, but it wasn't such a big deal. She had done so many things in this day and age, in this litigious world that we live in now. There's no way she would have been anywhere at the end of that season. Like,
FYI, they can't sue each other. Didn't know that.
True, but the network
that makes sense because they would
this
just be
is
suing each other
dangerous.
constantly.
But the network could say, like Gretchen could say, the network, this was an unsafe work environment. You allowed my castmate to get me blackout drunk and lock me in a closet. Yeah, I mean, exactly. This is if this is what Brandy and
Leah McSweeney.
Caroline. This is way worse than that. Way worse. And this is the tip of the iceberg. So Tamra has done evil, scary, vile things for years and years and years. And for some reason, she keeps coming back, and all of her little minions kind of like, act like everything's fine. And
I have a question for you. Who's worse, Tamra Judge or Jax Taylor? Because, like I said, I didn't have this history, but based on what you're explaining, it sounds abusive. It's different.
Yeah.
But it's not that different because his his has always been like borderline, and I feel like that's why he's never been kicked off TV till now. It's always been like this borderline abusive thing, and I feel like hers is different, but at the same time, it's always lying against people. It's creating situations to scare other people. It is different, but even just the threatening of people, and I guess a lot of it happens on the internet or outside of camera's eyes, where she's threatening legal action against people who have done nothing wrong. And what I really hate about her, by the way, sorry, circling back to Tamra, how her misuse of words. When she says words like attack, you are misusing the word, because I happen to know exactly what happened with the Bravo babe, and I will tell you just the brief beginnings of it. And it was literally that the Bravo babe was someone who really liked Tamra. And there was a few people who Tamra and Teddy let come on their podcast and ask a few questions. So it was the Bravo babe, Giorgio Says, and the Bravo historian. They were selected to come on the podcast, like Zoom or whatever, and get to ask like 3 questions. And it was around the time after that, like she'd always been a stan, and a little bit after that was the autism thing. And that was just it for her. You know, she was having a hard time, you know, justifying a lot of the other stuff, but that was sort of the final nail in the coffin for her. So all she did was post a story that said something like, I'm no longer part of the Tamra Judge army or something like that. Then the next day, she had found this website. I think it was Reality Blurb. I think it was like this weird website, and it said that the owner of the website was Tamra Judge, and it looked odd. And I do remember her sending it to me. I remember that, and I remember that normally I have fact checked things like that. But I also knew that she was my close friend, so I was just like, I guess I'll share it, even though I normally wouldn't. And she had just written at the top, "What if I told you that this person owned Reality Blurb?" Like, it wasn't documented anything. It was just, what if I told you? And who knows the origins of this website, but regardless, it wasn't anything. So those were the 2 things. And that is what Tamra deemed to be the Bravo babe attacking her. Now, neither of those things were sent to Tamra by the Bravo babe. They didn't tag Tamra. They had nothing to do with Tamra specifically. It's the Bravo babe, 1, deciding she no longer wants to stan Tamra, and 2, sharing content like she does. I'm sure someone sent it to her, but then she threatened her with legal action. And it's just like, she's misusing these words, or even just communicating with my daughter. You were like in contact with my daughter. No, responding to a comment online is not communicating with your daughter. And it was so rich for her to say, like, how dare you communicate with my kid? That is so out of line to bring somebody else's kid into it. The reason for the post is that you are bringing your kid onto the show, which she has asked you not to do. Sydney has repeatedly asked you not to bring her on camera, and that is why there was a post for Gretchen to respond to. Like, it's wild. Sorry, getting a little heated.
And she brings up her daughter every single season, and there's been a brave person here or there who has said, if you want a relationship with your child, leave the show and stop talking about her. But she can't do it. And, you know, she's the one, she brought to Emily that Katie's daughter was talking about Emily's children. She is in the mess talking about children constantly.
Oh, constantly.
She is in the mess with everything. And let's not forget the biggest piece in all of this. These bloggers, quote unquote, which we know are content creators and podcasters. It's us, right? She is one of them. She is one of the biggest podcasts in this whole
And I think we need to break that down, because I think the term blogger may have originally come from, my understanding is like that the Housewives pre-social media actually had to write blogs after each episode, and then they would get in fights about what was said in the blogs. But we are not bloggers. We never have been. Maybe there were people back in the day who used to like write recaps, like physically. We don't write shit. Okay, like I wish, but no, we're not writing anything. We are creating content. I mean, which is a broad term, but it's a term that's broad enough that it encompasses her as well, because like you and I are podcasters who create content on the internet that relate to our podcast. And that's exactly what Tamra and Teddy do. They have a podcast and they create content under like 2 T's in a pod about them. So it's the exact same thing. They talk shit about other people on their podcast, as evidenced by Gretchen, who said that 2 years ago on 2 T's in a pod that, Teddy and Tamra called Slade a deadbeat dad because his son died and the mother had to go use a GoFundMe or something. So it's just rich if she's going to go to like Andy Cohen about like some of our content creator friends or try to take them down when like, then can I sue you? Can I sue you? Right?
Totally. That's right. I mean,
Not
and
you. I mean Tamra.
yeah. And that is, I think that is the thing that makes me so frustrated. Like, I can't step away from that. Why is nobody sitting at the table? And maybe they are and they're just cutting it out. But why is nobody just throwing that back and saying, Tamra, you are one of these people. You create all of this drama. You talk about every single person on the Bravo network for a living. That is
I
what you
think
do for a
there
job.
I think there's something scary about someone who lies like that
Yeah.
because, like we can all sit here and say she's just a person, I'm not afraid, but she is the kind of person who could turn around and say something insane, like something insane. I'm trying to think of something coming into my head, like her going to Alex Baskin or Andy Cohen and saying, Katie tried to stab me. And just making that up, right? I think she would, in a fit of rage or passion or whatever you want to call it that she gets into when she gets so upset. So if somebody were coming at her with that, I feel like her instinct would be to come up with a insane lie that you cannot come back from and have to just run with it.
Yeah.
And it could get scary. And I feel like that's just scary. Like, I feel like if I were to go up against her, legally she can do nothing to me. I'm smart enough when it comes to the law that I know that. But, someone like her could still find a way to destroy you, right? And even just the threat of it is just really scary. There's not everyone will even make threats like that. So there's something to say about somebody who will do that.
Totally. And I think that's what I mean when I was saying before that people are afraid of her. And it's not necessarily that like, oh my God, I'm afraid she's going to hurt me. But she has proven time and time again that she can do terrible things to people and still have a job. And so it's like she carries power with the network.
She does. She does.
And people that want
I
to
know
be on
for
the
a fact
show.
that she does. I know for a fact now another memory is coming to me that another content creator was having an issue with her and was told by someone pretty big in the business that like, listen, she has a lot of power at the network, so you got to make her happy. And it's upsetting because it's like, I can't accept that. I feel sort of like, it's like, who do we talk to? Andy Cohen? Like, who do we talk to about this problem? Yeah. And, it shows that at least the fandom is smart enough because it was after this that people have started to come for her with like the autism thing and other horrible things that she's saying. You should even see the comments right now about like what she was saying about Jen. But I just don't know if the movement will ever be big enough like it was with Jax. Like, I have to tell you, I am shocked that they have made that decision, only because you've never made that decision before. You've never listened to us before. So I wonder if it ever got bad enough with Tamra, whether they would make that decision because it's what we wanted. And because they know that's what's best.
I don't think that they got rid of Jax because of the noise of the audience. I think there's some legal ramifications for them that they have to be careful about, and that it's not safe for them from a financial and legal responsibility because maybe more has come out that he was more violent with Brittany or whatever. Some things we maybe don't know about the detail of their relationship behind the scenes. And Brittany has said, this is what he has done. This is, and I cannot like be near him or whatever it is. And maybe they've looked at all of the behavior over the last year and they're like, this is actually an insurance risk for us now. And we can't, he's been to rehab twice. Nothing has changed. He's still volatile. He's got escalating behavior, which we've talked about before. And this is now a financial and an insurance risk.
He is a liability, right? I mean, I feel like, I don't know if you've seen all these stories or memes or things where people say that he's going to be a family annihilator. And like, I think so. Right. And I feel like the network sort of wants no part of it. Fair enough. Right. Like, I feel like we're almost watching the trajectory of something bad being about to happen. Yeah. And how about instead of it happening during season 3, let's just not film it, And so I feel like we all know something bad is probably going to happen. And I just feel like the network just doesn't want to be a part of it when it does.
That's right. So I feel like it's more that because, we were so vocal about Tamra. I don't think there was one person in the world who was defending Tamra after last season. And then she was back again, and everyone's like, what the hell? And then they brought Gretchen back, and everyone was like, oh my God, okay, great. Finally, we're going to get a Tamra takedown season. They are listening a little bit. But I just think she's probably great TV to them. And
Yeah, and she hasn't
the discourse
hurt
that's
anyone, quote
created,
unquote, right? Like
yeah,
she hasn't. I mean, you'd have to have people come forward and say she's really affecting like my mental health, right? And I'm sure
yeah,
she is, but you don't really have people
yeah,
coming forward and saying that. But I bet she
yeah.
has. I bet she's kept many of people up at night. Isn't that crazy to think about?
It's
Think
crazy.
about what Gretchen said, where she's like, "All the new housewives call me to ask
Mm-hmm.
about her," which I don't know if that's true, but think about it, all of the people that she's probably terrorized in or out of this show, right? Like, think about the number
Yeah.
of people who've probably had nightmares about her. It's wild. I'm very
I would,
curious about her
I'm
and
having,
Eddie's real life relationship.
yeah. I mean, no wonder he's got like heart problems. It would be terrifying. I would be so scared. I am scared. Are we going to put this
Yeah.
podcast out, Dana? Now I'm like freaking out.
You know what? She followed me for a day, and then I called her an alcoholic. She unfollowed me, so I think we're fine.
Oh my
I was like, oh no,
God. Yeah.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
No, totally. I'm still blocked by Paige, by the way. So,
Oh,
yeah. I don't know why. I've been blocked by her
fancy.
for so long. What did I do? I don't know.
I mean, I don't even know who I blocked by these days, but it was Jax for a really long time. But then
Yeah.
that's, it's a rite of
That's a big
passage, and
club.
yeah, it's a big club.
Yeah.
Oh, James Kennedy, but like, bye.
Great.
Max Boyens for a while, but then he unblocked me, and I thanked him. It was kind of nice, and
Excellent.
working my way through him.
I love it. I love it. Okay, well, hopefully we all live at the end of this podcast. But
If I'm blocked by a bunch of white men, I'm okay by it.
yeah, that's totally fine. Totally fine. But yeah, I don't know how I'm going to go with this season. I feel like if all the drama for the first 2 episodes is all about blogs and blogs, and again, the audacity
Yeah,
of Tamra and all of them at the table to be coming at Katie for talking to bloggers and like trying to get dirt. That is all they do all day long. That is the name of this game. That is how they play. They are all dirty. They are all involved. They all got information on Heather about, paparazzi. They all got information on Gina and Travis. They all got information on like every single one of them. This is just what they do. So how
yeah.
do they feel like they like I feel like on
Well,
all of these shows.
okay. But when Katie recorded Shannon at the gallery thing,
Yeah, not great.
for no reason except that it was supposed to be a fun day,
Yeah.
I really don't understand why she recorded it. Like,
Yeah.
that's fucked
Yeah.
up. Okay,
Yeah.
you didn't show it to Alexis, fine, but like, why were you recording her just because she was being a lot that day?
Yeah.
Her only
That
reason
was
is that it was supposed to be a fun day.
And you know what? I can pay that because that is directly, that is a bad move, bad behavior directly from player to player. But talking about information they're getting from people in the content creation world, that's crap. Every
Yeah,
single one of them doing it. Every single one of them are going on podcasts. Every single one of them probably have podcasts. It's just, who cares? I don't want to watch a whole season of fighting about who called a content creator first. Like, who cares? But recording a castmate and sharing that when she's in the middle of a lawsuit, 100%. And
yeah,
the other thing, it's just all of this like double standards. Then Emily says, you really want me to like sit in a room and like ask how you're going when I am now involved in a lawsuit because of, something that was said with the nanny and whatever. Like
oh, wait, she I
every
missed that.
single, yeah.
Oh,
So Emily is now like suing the former nanny that reached out to Katie and I think maybe shared information about Emily not being a nice person. And Emily is now suing this
have your
person
people
for
sign an
defamation.
NDA? No,
Yeah,
aren't you
I
supposed
mean,
to do
wouldn't
that
that
with
be?
your people?
Isn't she a lawyer, or wasn't
Yeah,
she a lawyer? Like, but the
good
audacity
point.
there that they all last year continued to force Shannon and Alexis to be in the same room and like, can't we invite her to this? And I'm bringing her to that, and she was in a really significant lawsuit
That was
directly
very
related.
uncomfortable, but again, it was very like it was sort of went back to the show where it's like, well, we have to invite her. It's part of, like it's hard to
Yeah.
see which parts were authentic. Like, of course she had to come to all the events. She's
Yep.
part of the show. It was really awful of the show to even
Yeah.
do that to Shannon. If you think about it, it's really, but
so awful. But then
it was hard to watch, right? And everybody's just sort of like letting her be treated like crap.
Yep.
On one end, it's like, aren't you supposed to be her friend? On the other, are you? On the third, are you all just doing your jobs by just letting Alexis attack everybody? And I guess so, because you're not really friends. And, so I see what you're saying. It does lack a lot of that authenticity.
Yeah. So then, okay, why isn't someone else just jumping in and going, you know what, Emily, I get that that's uncomfortable, but we all did it last year with Shannon and Alexis. I think we're all clear why we're all here. We're all paid to be here. So it sucks, but, let's move on. Yeah. You're not special. You don't get special treatment here because your nanny is a problem. Like what Shannon and Alexis and John were embroiled in last year was so much worse. She went through so much more. So I have no time for Emily in that regard. Mm-hmm. So there's so many, everybody just not seeming to think that the audience has a memory of what happened 5 minutes ago.
A lot of them don't, though. They're always very much like, I don't remember that phone call, or I don't remember doing this, that, and whatever. And that seems to be the excuse a lot of times, where it's like, unless there's a flashback, it's like the I don't remember excuse is not my favorite.
Totally. So what are your thoughts then? I mean, you're going to watch the season, of course. Are you feeling like this is going to are we going to get to a better place here, or is it just going to get messier and messier and messier?
Well, we always get little bits of tea as the season goes on and as they're filming. We do remember that Tamra quit for like a hot minute and then went back, which we knew she would. We know that Katie did go on the final trip. So I do think it's going to be pretty messy for it to get to both of those things. I'm very curious about Katie. And I'm curious your thoughts about her in general, just because when she came on the scene, I was like, okay, she's nice, she's cool, she's sweet. I asked her to be on my podcast. She said yes, and then just disappeared into the sun. Then I asked her again this year, and then she's like, oh, unfortunately, I have to go through Bravo. I know. So I don't know why you're saying unfortunately. By you saying unfortunately makes me think, unfortunately, you meaning because you're not going to ask Bravo. But anyway, seeing her hang out over the past year with content creators, I found a little odd, I'll be honest. So, she was always nice to us in the DMs. That's one thing. But then I started seeing her hang out with the Bravo mom, which is like another content creator who lives in OC, and like making TikToks together. And then when she was saying on the show, like going to their birthday parties and stuff, where I'm just like, so the show is going to go exactly the way you're saying it is, in this very inauthentic way. And I also feel like we didn't hear enough about it to be like too jazzed about anything happening. We haven't heard, not even from Andy Cohen with his fake, like, this is the most dramatic, this or that. So I think it'll be fine. I think it'll definitely get messy, but I think it'll be fine. I don't think this will be the most amazing season, but I don't think, I think we can probably have some pretty standard expectations, given that we have an identical cast from this year to last, except for Alexis. But yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty like tame season, I guess, in terms of like real story, but just like a lot of stupid, messy drama that's going to like push it through, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're probably right. With a bit of like comic relief from Shannon.
Hopefully. She's so cute.
I know. She really
I'm not doing anything below the neck. Yes. Girl, same. Same.
Yes. And I actually love that we're going to get a little sneak preview of some, friends from the Love Hotel joining her on the show. So we might get a little bit. Yeah. So I think in the preview for next week, I think she brings one of the guys, not Earl the Pearl. I think she brings
because she said that she's friends with them now, so she can bring them on dates.
Yeah, but is it friends wink
That's
wink?
Cute. Yeah. I mean, did you watch The Love Hotel? Did you like it?
I did, and I loved it. I
love watching old people, and not her, but like the older men. Just they're so cute. Yes. And I didn't end up watching Golden Bachelor, but I can imagine myself liking it. Just seeing like older people fall in love, it just makes me happy. Yes. But I want Shannon to find her love. I want her to find her happiness, and honestly, I want her to stay the hell away from Tamra. I don't think Tamra's healthy for anybody. I don't think Tamra is a healthy friendship for anyone. I think the only one who can stand being around her without changing their own personality is Heather.
Yeah.
Like I think she knows how to work Tamra. She's like, I come in, I do my job with Tamra, and or like, don't we all have friends like that where like they're a certain way and we're like, okay, I know how to work with this person. I don't necessarily mean it in a bad way, where it's like, I know when I go to dinner with them, they're gonna always scream about the food, and then they're gonna do this, and then they're gonna do this, and I need to do this to make sure it doesn't escalate to this. So I think she knows how to manage her.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's where her background in acting comes from. She's there, she's playing the role of Heather Dubrow, and she comes in and she plays nice, and she might make a little side comment here or there. She'll talk about her money, she'll talk about her kids and have some champs, and then she goes home. You know?
Like, I like her fine, but I also just, again, because I've only been in this for a few years, I'm just like, what's her storyline? It's always just like being rich and just buying homes and redecorating those homes. Like, I kind of don't see the value in that, honestly, that much either. I like her family. Maybe I'd like to see more of that, but I'm not this huge Heather stan, just only in the, like, she seems fine, but I just, there's nothing there except richness.
Yeah. I almost feel like the whole cast just needs like a proper shakeup. You know,
be careful when you say stuff like that.
I know.
Those are harsh words. We've seen it go down the shitter.
Oh my God, you're right. I
feel like the only ones who have been able to do it well are like when you integrate in little bits. So I like bringing in Gretchen, bring in two or three, bring in like two old people, one brand new, just little bits. I feel like they did a good transition with Atlanta in doing that in little ways. Summer House, for the most part, has been able to transition people in and out in little ways like that as well. Bring in one or two per season. Yeah. So I feel like it's possible, and I love when they bring on someone old. I think that's fun. Yes. You got to bring Vicky back for the 20s. You have to bring Vicky back. That would be crazy not to.
Yeah. Why is she not on this season at all? I cannot understand.
Well, is it her rule that she won't go on it unless she's full time?
Maybe, but I saw some snippets. And aren't you on the same network as her? You guys are stable mates.
Doesn't mean I know her, but that also doesn't mean that we have any influence over Bravo. But she should be screaming out to them, and I'm sure she will.
Yeah. But I think she said on her podcast a few times that, you know, I've seen some clips, you know, that she is really sad. That she's really sad that she wasn't on, and I think like the fans we need Vicky. She's the OG of the OC. She anchors it all. Who cares if she's like outrageous or, you know, whatever.
That's the point.
It's the point. And I think she, you know, she sort of balances out Tamra a little bit. Like
that would be a good counterbalance.
Yeah. Tamra's sort of been she's been allowed to kind of just go wild and take over, and it's so dark. It's like for me when Rinna sort of joined on Beverly Hills, and it just got really dark and it sort of
she is reminding me of Rinna, even with the marriage, because we know so little. It's like Rinna is like in everybody else's life, but we know nothing about like her marriage. You know, like her marriage is perfect and it's great, nobody touches that. And I feel like it's the same here. It's like we don't know anything about Tamra and Eddie's relationship. Yeah. But Tamra spends all of her time fucking with everybody else.
Yeah.
Oh, and I also, one more point about Tamra. I think another thing that she does is like she'll try to project the way that she feels onto other people. So if she's like, Jen's jealous of me, no, you're probably jealous of her. Because the things that she says are so silly. You know how men do that, where they'll be like, you were probably out cheating on me. And the only reason they're saying that is because that's what they would be doing. And so it's sort of that similar stuff. The things that she thinks in her brain that other people are doing or thinking, they're not, because no one else is as crazy as you. You're the only one who's going to think and do those things. And so she's projecting that onto other people.
Absolutely nailed that. You're 100% right.
Thank you. Give me my baby degree.
100% right. Yep. Completely see that. Okay, so we could bring back Vicky, keep Gretchen, maybe even like bring back someone like, you know, if you want to get messy, why don't we bring back Joe, who is Slade's first girlfriend? You know, they like to.
Who knows Ryan? It's all connected. Yeah.
Yes, and then you know
that's a good one.
I like Gretchen, but that gives A, real connections, and B, you know, a little bit of drama. Even though
if Gretchen stays, they'll do that for sure. How could they? Yeah, not? That's like what's the word? Like lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like we have lost our way with a lot of these longer standing shows, and we just need to bring it back to like the original source that was just so good. Bring it
back.
Yes.
Sorry, that's my DJ.
Yeah. I just think that would solve a lot of problems. And then, keep the fans happy. Come on. Now that I'm, really good friends with Andy Cohen because, I was on Watch What Happens Live
So
asking a
fucking cool.
question. It was the coolest thing ever. But like, I really want him, and I really want the network to start listening to everybody because they just don't always know what's right. And I think,
But I do think the Jack Taylor thing is a start. I feel like that's
yeah,
that's
that
a
is a good
huge
start.
start. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good start. I have to say, The Valley, it's like the last thing I'm watching at the moment. I don't know,
Everybody
like,
feels that way.
yeah, just I'm like pro Valley, love it, love it, love it, love it. But for some reason, I've got my shows ready to go, and it's the last thing I'm sort of leaning towards.
Yeah.
Next Gen NYC, I'm hooked in.
Mm-hmm.
Miami, I'm hooked in.
Mm-hmm.
And then The Valley is like, oh, nah, I can't be bothered. What else have I got?
Yeah. The general consensus in like the fandom, I guess, is a lot of people are more interested in listening to podcasts about it than actually watching it because they're finding that too dark. But they're enjoying the discourse. A lot of people are saying to me, "I'm not watching, but I'm listening to your show."
Wow.
So we'll keep doing what we're doing. But there's really only one episode left, and then the reunion. And I don't know how many episodes of the reunion, maybe 2.
Okay.
But we'll see. Yeah, that'll be an interesting one too because we won't have Jax back, but we'll definitely have semblances of him because it would be weird not to. I would love to see Brittany dating. I don't know what we're gonna do with Janet and Jason because everybody hates them so much, but to lose 3 main cast members would be kind of a lot. You also need to have a villain, but could we get a better villain? I don't know. There's a lot to be said for that as well. And where are we now? It's July 19th. They're going to be filming any minute. Oh my God. How have they not started filming yet? July 19th. They're going to be filming any day now. That's wild. So I don't know. That's probably why they made the announcement last week that he's not coming back to season 3 because they would be filming. They would start. I'm such a loser. They start filming around his birthday, July 7th or 9th. It's somewhere in there.
Oh my God.
Because Sandoval's is like the 9th and Jax's I think is the 7th or vice versa. So that's when they usually start filming. So they must have been just trying to figure out how the rest of the season's going to go. If I were Janet and Jason, I would run for my fucking life if I would want to keep my marriage and my family. But from what I hear from Ryan Bailey, I mean, he was sort of talking numbers like, and I'm bad at sort of understanding numbers out loud but what it sounded like he was saying was like at least $250,000 each it would be for them. So to lose $500,000 because he said like, I mean, this is what I sort of picked up from what he was saying, how the numbers double and then double again. And he said that they would have started at like close to 100 and then doubled or something like that. Anyways, it's a lot of money. But, something I've always noticed about Danny and Nia, for example, while people really judge them on keeping their parts of their relationship a secret, I think that they value their actual marriage and relationship over the TV show as they should. And I implore Janet and Jason to do the same if they want to keep this is wild what's happening to them. But all I'm saying is just like, if they want to keep their family together, they need to get out of this. This is not worth it.
Completely agree. At the best, maybe they're friends of that occasionally come to a party, but I think having them on the main cast, they've got a baby,
to the point where people are now like death to Jason as well. Well, just go, guys. Just go. Because it's time to go. It's wild what the fandom can actually do to you and convince you of. I mean, I actually heard Amanda Batula say it once where she said on a podcast, like, the fandom actually almost convinced me to leave Kyle. And I thought to myself, what am I doing? And like, we were speaking the truth, girl. But regardless, right? Like, or we just saw, if it came out today or yesterday, I don't know if you saw that, Will Culp is not coming back to Southern Hospitality.
I did know that. Emmy told me.
It's that long ago she told you? Yeah. So he's known for a while. Okay, because they're filming again soon, so they're filming now, which is why he's bringing it up. And, I think it's a very rare decision, but it's a very smart decision for somebody who knows that there's an actual real life outside of this. Yeah. For the people who are in this, it's like a simulation. And it's almost like Love Island, right? You're in this bubble. Yeah. And nothing is important to you outside of this bubble. But Will's like, no, I grew up like a real person. I'm going to be a lawyer and I'm going to go move on and do that. And people can judge, like, people are really mad and do not care about his statement whatsoever. All I'm saying is, in terms of reality TV, I can understand how you can make the decision that being a lawyer would be more beneficial than continuing reality TV and being torn apart. 100%. I can agree with that.
But I think, the difference there is, I mean, their stories, there are a lot of parallels there, actually. Both the men are lawyers, both the women are like reality TV people. now. I don't know what else. Emmy works at Republic. You know, I don't know what Janet does other than the show.
She doesn't, because she was a stay-at-home mom before, or right before starting the show, she decided to be. But
Yeah.
I mean, I remember Will saying on the Vile Files, I don't know what this means for me, but Emmy is a star.
Yes.
And so I don't know if Janet is a star. I think that people would disagree. And I'm somebody who's very supportive of, like, no racism, no death threats, no anything like that. I'm sure you've seen me like going, like trying to like calm the fandom down.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just don't know whether this is beneficial, because you have TV villains like Stassi, you have people that were maybe more interesting. Ugh, I hate to say that. I just don't think this is working for her.
Yeah. Yeah. I
don't think she can make it work for her. No, it's
I agree. I agree. At some point, you got to pick up your bat and go home.
But Sheena, on the other hand, she is making her way into our faces again.
Oh my God, Dana, I can't.
So she'll definitely be on the Valley full time next year, I think. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, if we're losing Jax, and if we do lose Janet and Jason, we're definitely getting a full time Sheena. Definitely.
If that is the case, I will be one of the people following on podcasts. I can't stomach it. I talk about Sheena all the time. I just find it, I just can't do it. I mean, you talk about like inauthentic, and you talk about, all of
I pre-ordered her book, so I'm going to give her a chance. But there's a lot about her that I just do not like, and I never will.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get it. On the one hand, she's got a career. She's trying to continue her career, and you mine your life for content. I get that. And writing a book, of course she needs to do that. Do it all. But I just don't want to I don't want to read it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to, I think I commented on one of your posts. You said you reshared something. It was like Sheena opens up about blah, blah, blah. It was from something else. And I was like, oh my God, opens up for the 10,756th time.
This week.
Because
it's not like she did one excerpt, then she did Us Weekly, then she's doing it on her podcast, and it's like, girl, I feel like I've read the book.
Yeah. And I think that's actually doing her a disservice. She should have done minimal media about it and kept people interested. I think most people are turning off now because it's like, well, yeah, it's Eddie Cibrian and it's the same old stories we've heard 100 million times. Meh. Moving on.
In my defense, I will have to read it because of my limited series, Be a True Hollywood Story, where I tell the story of a Bravo Leb from birth to scandal, stardom, and everything in between. So I've always wanted to do Sheena, could never do it because she didn't have a book. You really need a book for something like this. We don't know anything about her childhood. Do you know her dad isn't her real dad? She's half Mexican. So, there's a whole story there that people don't actually know. So I do want to read it in that regard, not because I think it's going to be well written. We've already seen some of the excerpts, and it's not. And that's with a ghostwriter. So it's not for that purpose. But, yeah, my sister was like, who's going to buy – oh, right, I forgot people like you would buy something like that. I'm like, listen, it's funny because, I wonder who listens to Jax's podcast, except the people that need to for our quote unquote jobs as bloggers, right? Yes. So I wonder if all of these things are just being bought by us.
Yes. Well, you
do our jobs in between.
Yeah, exactly. You are doing God's work here.
Right.
I will consume everything you put out because I know it will be thoughtful and all sides will be considered and it'll be detailed and it'll have the full picture. But I don't really want to listen to her podcast and read her book or see her on what I thought was such a great show. Are you going to watch
We'll see what happens.
Vanderpump 2?
No. I mean, I say that. I don't want to. I don't have any interest. I don't know these people. It was lightning in a bottle with those people. I don't care about these people. So
no.
I say no, but we'll see what happens.
Oh my God, watch this space. Okay. Now, I know I have kept you a little bit longer than probably.
Yeah, I do got to go.
You got to go. Okay.
How much longer do you want to keep me?
Look, we can wrap it up there if you need to.
Yeah.
Hop out. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Is that okay? Okay. Sorry.
Of course. Dana, I love talking with you. I love everything that you are doing. Where can people go and support your work and follow you and get the lowdown on everything?
Well, they can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at the Bravo Investigator, and they can listen to my podcast, the Bravo Investigator Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
Amazing. Thank you so much for answering my SOS and being so readily available. I look forward to being partners with you in the lawsuit that we received from Tamra at the end of this show.
No, and I'll have you on maybe in a few weeks. We'll keep going with our Tamra rant. I'll have you over on my podcast because, listen, there's no one that understands OC like you do, and you need to give me all the backstory as well. And I promise I'll get caught up. I promise I will. But I think it's so funny that you call this an SOS and being last minute, because let's remind our listeners that I live in Canada and you live in Australia. So like to make this work isn't really just a matter of like, let's hop on a call. It's like, you're like, are you free tomorrow? And I'm like, you mean tonight?
Yes, exactly.
I love that.
And you were there. I was like, are you going to be available in like 12 hours?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, Dana. You are the
Thank
best.
you.
I can't wait to continue this conversation again. And thank you so much once again. Can't wait to see what comes out of your amazing show next.
Thank you. See you soon.
Thanks, Dana.